down the basement, lock the cellar door, and baby, talk bloody to me.
Hi, welcome to another exciting edition of Talk Bloody to Me. I'm Matt,
And I'm Breezy.
and today we are talking about a classic, one of the all-time greatest movies of all time, well, horror movies, and that is, what are we talking about today, Breezy?
Before we get to that,
Oh,
I want to say happy early birthday to Matt, which is his birthday is on Thursday, which we won't be recording on Thursday. That's why we're recording today because he's going to be on vacation on his birthday. So happy birthday, Matt. So happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you and dear Matt.
uh, thank you.
Happy birthday to you
Thank
early.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. So, um, well, now
so so now back to what we're talking about. We are talking about the 1975 Jaws, the first
I'm
one. Jaws.
exactly. The movie that basically took off Steven Spielberg's career.
Mhm.
Um, it's this will come as no shock to anyone, but it is a very good movie. If you've ever
Yep.
heard of Jaws, you've probably heard it's a very good movie. There are there's three sequels. Jaws 4 is the last one.
There's actually four of them.
Oh, okay. Yep. And I don't think none of the rest really compare. Two is good, I think, a little bit, but I don't think any of the rest really compared to part one. But
Yeah, I know. I do like part two, but we will talk about that in a later future when we review it. But yes, part two is pretty good.
yeah, exactly. So, since everyone kind of knows Jaws is a good movie, I kind of wanted to talk about what makes it a good movie. Like, why is
Mm.
it such a good movie? But first, let's start with when did you first see Jaws, Breezy?
Oh, fuck. I actually don't remember when I seen Jaws, what age. I'm pretty sure I was young. I
Hmm.
actually did rent it as again and Coburn's when they had the tape section,
Yeah.
and I actually rented on VHS, and that's how I like actually seen Jaws.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
I I actually saw it for the first time. I was staying in a hotel with my family. We were on a trip, and the hotel had cable or something. I don't remember if it was a TV version or not, but I remember Jaws was on TV, and I specifically remember it was like when they're on the boat sliding, like the climax of the movie. We'll get to that later, but it was like what? I was like 6 years old, like it
Oh,
it
gee.
was a little rugged for 6 year old,
Well,
but
it's considered as a PG, so it's like
it's
little
which is
kids can watch it too. So,
yeah, which is surprising because there's a surprising amount of blood in it. I haven't watched it for years, and I kind of forgot that there is a couple of gory moments in it.
oh
Little,
yeah.
yeah. So, um, what do you like about Jaws, Breezy?
What I like about Jaws. I can't like really nitpick on this movie because I like everything about this movie.
Hmm.
What actually like really I really like how they did the shark.
Yeah,
Which do you know what the shark's name?
I do because I watched a documentary that you told me to watch, but
Okay.
otherwise I wouldn't know. Could you?
Okay, so if people doesn't know, his the shark's name is Bruce,
Yes, and
which
you're
is Bruce is actually a name off of Steven Spielberg, can't even pronounce his last name.
Spielberg.
Spielberg lawyer.
Yup.
And I didn't know that until like today. I was like, oh no shit.
Yeah. So
But
they.
yeah, I like the shark, the Bruce the shark, and he's mechanical. And back in the day, that has to be such a pain in the ass, As if you watch the documentary on making the Jaws or in the
Mm-hmm.
making of Jaws, they
Mm-hmm.
explain like they had so much issues with this mechanical shark, like in the water, it kept breaking down or
Yup.
wouldn't move or et cetera, et cetera.
Mm-hmm.
So I really like, just the shark and how that actually came informed.
Yeah, me too. And yeah, sounds like they had an electrical mechanical shark
Mm.
that they had built in LA and then they shipped out to they were filming in Martha's Vineyard in New England, and as soon as they put it in the ocean, the salt water like fried it.
Yeah.
So then they redid it with like air hoses and pumps and levers and all kinds of like manual things, and then it still broke all the time. And so what they ended up doing was doing more like sort of point of view shots and more sort of implying that the shark is there. And you see like the people's heads floating just above the water. And it really leaves it to your imagination, which many people say is what makes the whole movie. That if it actually had been a mechanical shark, the movie would have turned out hokey and stupid and dumb. But because it's mostly left to your imagination and you only see little flashes and bits and pieces of it here and there, that it's a much better movie because of it.
Yeah,
And
I
just
agree on that one.
yeah, I do too. Another thing, well, when I was watching it, um, I realized part of the reason I like about it is because there's so many shots where they're just in the water, like the water, their heads are floating above the water, and then
Mhm.
it'll cut, and you'll see the legs from underneath, like kicking, and it's very much implied that a shark is swimming around. But when you're in the ocean, if you've ever been in the ocean, that's what you see is you just see a bunch of heads floating there. You can't see stuff swimming around. You don't
Right.
know if there's sea urchins or jellyfish or God knows what down there.
Yep.
So, and then all of a sudden, like the beginning scene, they're gonna do a little skinny dipping,
Did
and all of a sudden
you?
she just goes
Yeah,
sliding away.
yeah. When I watched that documentary, like when they were talking about that scene in the beginning of the movie, where
Hmm.
all the kids are like partying at this on the sand on the beach, and like this, a girl goes up pretty much naked
Yeah, she
and
wants to go
goes
skinny
swims.
dipping.
Yep, and goes to the buoy. Well, in the documentary, they like explain like it wasn't really the shark that actually pulled her. It was actually like one of those things that actually was whipping her.
Yep.
I forgot what it was, but yeah, it wasn't really a
So there
shark.
was
It
like
was
ropes and pulleys, I think, and they were like pulling her different directions with ropes.
yep.
And they actually hired a woman who was an actress, but also a stunt woman, specifically so she could do crazy stuff like that,
Yep.
which is pretty cool. Who's your so if you don't know the story of Jaws, just to really sum up, just give you a really brief overview. You have the chief. He's the new chief of police in the town. Woman gets eaten by a shark at night. He says we got to close the beaches. The mayor's like, no, we can't close the beaches. It's our whole livelihood. It's the 4th of July, gal. Wah!
Yep.
So they say, okay, we'll leave the beaches open. There's another horrible grisly attack on poor Alex Kittner, and then everyone feels shitty about it. And then they finally go out with Quinn and oh shit, I can't think of his name. Richard Dreyfuss, and they go hunt the shark, and that's kind of like the last half to third of the movie is hunting
Mhm.
the shark.
Yeah.
And so that's kind of just the basic overview. But like, so do you have a favorite character, or do you like them all the same? They like your kids, you can't pick
Uh,
one.
I I do like all three of them when they're on the boat.
Yep.
Specifically, my favorite one of them all together was
Mhm.
when they're on the boat and they're like drinking and stuff, and they're
Yeah.
like, and then they were singing and like I always jam out to them.
Yep.
But I really don't really have a favorite. I do like Chief Brody. He's
Hmm.
more of a serious,
Hmm.
type person. Quint is like kind of like very low key and serious too in a way. But I do like Richard Dreyfuss all overall because he's not only serious, but he's also like funny too. It
Hmm.
that one part is like when he's talking to that asshole mayor.
Yeah.
He's like, all they do is make all they do is three things. They swim, they eat, and they make baby sharks. And that's it.
Yeah.
And that one is like up until they swim up and bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, it's so funny.
It is. There's a lot of comedy in this movie, and that's what's really interesting about this is because there's comedy, but then there's parts like when they're fighting the shark where it's like an action movie, and then there's parts where it's like a nature survival in the wilderness movie, and then there's parts where it's like an Alfred Hitchcock suspense movie with like the implied shark and the music, and then there's parts where it's like straight up gore for a second or two, and so it really kind of covers all the bases. It's like it really stretches across a lot of genres.
Yeah.
I have
Like
seen. Oh, go ahead.
so like the documentary, they explain like the movie more in depth of what all actually went down, how they actually made certain scenes, and even the shark too.
Yeah.
Um, they did a really good job explaining Alex Kittner on the water
Hmm.
and how they did with that part.
That's the part that literally blew my mind this time around. And I know I've seen it before. I wonder if I'm used to seeing it on TV or something where it's edited because it's such a good, because the first woman has died. So Chief Brody knows that there's a shark out there and he's recommended closing the beaches and the mayor refuses to do it. So they're all sitting on the beach and there's people swimming and they show him sitting there looking out and you see like these potential victims. There's Alex Kittner, the kid on the raft. There's like a dog swimming with a stick. There's like an old man over here. And it's just like, oh my God, who the
Well,
hell is going to get?
the dog did get killed, but you don't see the dog get killed.
Yeah. How do you know he got killed?
Well, let's put two and two together. You know, there's this shark out there. You know, there's a shark out there,
Yeah.
and all of a sudden, like Chief Brody's just sitting there, just like waiting for something to happen. And you know, this person was like throwing the stick like out in the water, and the dog keeps going to grab the stick. Well, then
Yep.
all of a sudden, the dog's not there, and the stick is just floating.
Yep.
So the shark is there. The shark
Yep.
got him.
Yep. That's
Where
how
did
you
the shark
know.
go? To Alex Kittner.
All of a sudden, you just see this blood shoot out of the water, like, and it really took me by some. It really shocked me. I was like, "Whoa!" And then they do this awesome shot of Chief where like his face stays same, but the background zooms out behind him, like
Yup.
that tunnel vision shock, like just like holy shit. That's one thing this movie does really well is that you feel like what the characters are feeling. That the shots and the photography
Mhm.
really convey the feelings of what the people are feeling too.
Yeah, it'd be
Yeah.
really cool if they actually did like some type of anniversary and put it in theaters, but in 3D.
Oh, that would be awesome.
That'd be really fucking cool when it's in 3D.
Or IMAX.
Yeah. However, Jaws 3 is in part 3D-ish, D-ish, but we would talk about it at a different time. But yeah, I think Jaws 1 would be really good in 3D.
I think it would be too. One of my favorite moments besides that, it's an iconic scene, but it's when Chief is chumming the water and he's like, yeah, why don't you come down here and throw, and all of a sudden Jaws just pops up like right behind him and he jumps up and he like steps back and just the look on his face is just like absolute shock. And then what's he say? We're gonna need a bigger
I totally
boat.
forgot. I was blanked out. I blanked out. But yeah, there that scene was pretty funny too. There's another scene when they're out, all three of those guys are on a boat, and Richard Dreyfuss and Quint kind of got in a little beef with each other, and he's like,
Yeah.
"Oh my gosh."
Yeah, they don't like each other at first because the one's the hardy seaman that's seen it all and been through the ringer and is old and crusty and grizzled, and then the other's the young college guy that's. But
Oh,
when they get drunk, they start to compare their scars.
I now I remember. I think we need a bigger boat.
Yep, you got it. I knew you'd get it eventually.
Yeah, it came in my mind like, oh, I think we need a bigger boat. No shit, Sherlock.
Yeah, that poor boat.
Yeah.
So yeah, they start to get along once they start drinking and comparing war stories, and Quinn takes his tooth off or his cap or whatever it was, and shows the chunk taken out of his leg, and
Mm.
yeah. What else is there
Do
to
you
talk?
like do you like that shark scene that Quint got the shark got Quint?
Yeah, that's the part I remember seeing in the hotel, and that's pretty much like the climax of the movie where the shark has rammed the boat and bitten it a lot. So the boat is sinking, and the ass end is in the water going down, and so it's like a ramp, and and Jaws is on the bottom end with his mouth open, and Quinn basically slides legs first into its mouth while he chews and bites and chomps, and he goes It's
Yeah,
probably one of the worst deaths ever.
when I first seen that, this is when I was like little. So when I first seen that particular scene, I was kind of like, ooh, ouch. It actually made me cringe a little bit because it's like he doesn't the Jaws Bruce actually bites him right in the fucking stomach. So,
Yeah.
you know, that's gotta hurt.
Mm-hmm.
And then he bites on another time. I was like, okay, he should be almost about dead by now.
Uh-huh.
There's no way. I'm sorry, but there has to be. I don't know. I keep thinking about all these cinema. It's like if that's real life, like I can understand like the first bite you're kind of still living,
Yep.
and then the second bite there has to be no way in fuck.
I think if nothing else, you'd be in so much shock that you'd have a heart attack or your brain would just churn off. But who knows? Quint's the grizzly old
Yeah.
dude. He's been through a lot. Maybe he's fighting right down to the bitter end. He's just like a hand and a head and a fist going, eh.
Yeah. Well, after like what should I say, Jaws slash Bruce
Mhm.
actually like got him and obviously we took him under the water and ate him, and then he
Mhm.
comes back up, and you see all like the human meat on it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
I was
It's
like,
stuck in the teeth and stuff.
yeah. So I'm like, I'm kind of curious on. I don't think they explain that in the documentary, but I was kind of curious, like how, since this is a fake shark, how they put all that stuff on the teeth.
Yeah, I'm sure they must have had some kind of.
Or is it like FX makeup type deal? I mean, it's too like flabbery to do that. I don't know.
Maybe they went to like the butcher market and just got like some scraps of meat or something and just
Well,
shoved them
yeah,
in there.
that too.
Yeah. Um, they also talked about how they had a special camera that was in a waterproof box that they would basically set right at the water line. And I thought that was really cool because that was so many of those shots are what really work well for the movie, creating the
Hmm.
suspense and the tension. And they did say that he actually, Steven Spielberg, once they realized the shark wasn't going to work, he started thinking of it more as like Alfred Hitchcock of suspense and implying and that kind of thing.
Yep. So what do you think about the when Richard Dreyfuss went in the shark cage?
What's his name? Hooper? I can't believe I'm
Yeah, there you
drawing.
go,
Yeah,
Hooper.
yeah.
Hooper.
I was like, we got to know his damn name for God's sake.
Yeah, there you
Yeah,
go,
Hooper.
Hooper.
He goes in the
Yeah.
shark cage, and it's like, oh yeah, everything's going exactly according to plan. Boom! The shark hits him from behind. Like doesn't even
Yeah,
see it coming.
yeah, that freaking shark is
It
huge.
is.
They
They say
actually
it's
saw the
25
whole
feet.
body.
Yeah. Yeah.
25 feet, they said.
Yep. It's crazy.
Yeah, I was
Crazy
like,
huge.
oh my gosh. If I don't mind if I had to go in a like a shark cage, yes, I would do it.
Hmm.
But that shark better not open the cage like Jaws did.
Yeah. Busted it right open with his beak, with his big nose.
Yeah.
Yep.
Would you go in a shark cage?
I don't even like the ocean. I don't. I'm like Chief Brody. I'm like staying in the shore, not even liking the ocean.
So you wouldn't go in a shark
I
cage.
you know what? I'd try pretty much anything once. I'd be willing to try it. But
Okay.
this is a true story. When I was a little kid, we were in Florida, and my brother and sister went snorkeling, and I went on the glass bottom boat because I didn't want to go in the ocean.
Nice.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I would still do it. I would definitely do it. But those sharks better stay away from that cage.
They say if you, like I've heard this before, and I have no idea if this is true, but they say if you ever get attacked by a shark, you're supposed to try and punch it right in the nose because apparently that throws off their whole everything, and they like
Well, yeah,
go.
because they explain when Chief Brody was looking at the book, they actually
Mhm.
see like the nose and it has like the vibration.
Oh, that's right. Yep, yep.
Yep.
Oh, that reminded me of another thing that I kind of liked was how they have his wife, and she's like kind of a good balance to the character, and kind of makes kind of brings that human element, but their little kid is out on the boat just right on the dock, and he's like, get him out of there, he needs to come in, get off of that boat. And she's like, what's wrong with you? It's fine, he's sitting right in the boat, he's right at the dock, he's not even barely out on the water. And then as he's like, yeah, I guess you're right, I may be overreacting. And she opens the book and there's a picture of a shark like biting into a wooden boat with like a
Yeah.
person in it, like. And then she's like, didn't you hear your dad? Get out of that boat.
Yeah. I would do the same thing too. I'll like look at the pictures. I'm like, no, my kids get the hell out of there.
Yeah. Yep. So
And
what?
then, so do you
Oh,
like the ending? Like how he like kills a shark? I'm like,
I do.
blow up, blow up, blow up, you son of a, and then
Yeah.
boom.
And then you see chunks of meat rain down.
Yeah. That is so me like because Josh is like chomping on the air
Hmm.
tank, the scuba
Hmm.
diver tank, and
Yeah.
like he's just sitting there just shooting it, and I like, like blow up, come on, blow up, you stupid son of a boof. Epic. That's an epic ending right there.
It is. Totally. And they set it up earlier on that like he drops the oxygen tank and they're like, oh, be careful with those. Those are explosive if they get hit too hard. So it's like, and then Jaws is attacking him and he shoves the tank in his mouth. And then he's like, show me the tank.
Yep. Yep.
And then
Epic
Richard
ending.
Dreyfuss, Hooper, whatever he is.
Hooper.
He lives. I was getting confused with Stranger Things. He Hopper. Anyway, he lives. He was hiding on the ocean floor, and him and the chief paddle a piece of wreckage to shore and live to tell the tale. And that's the ending of Jaws.
Yeah.
Such a good movie.
Yeah. Such a classic too.
Mhm.
I love it.
Made Steven Spielberg's career. Really helped Richard Dreyfuss, who already had a fantastic. Well, I think he had a decent career
Yeah.
going. Or
Yeah.
yeah. Made
They,
Universal Studios a shit ton of money.
yep. They Chief Brody passed away years ago. No, actually it went from Quint, he passed away years
Mhm.
ago. And then Chief Brody. And
Mhm.
then the only person that's actually living in that group is Richard Dreyfuss, which he's getting up there too.
Yeah, definitely. Another interesting thing I learned from the documentary that just popped into my head is that scene where Alex Kittner's mom slaps Chief across the face. And they
Mhm.
said they did like 17 takes of that. So that means he got slapped in the face 17 times.
I
No,
remember that.
that's dedication. That's commitment.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
Yeah, they had in the documentary they explained that they had when they were about to have it in theaters, they were having so much trouble, and actually Steven actually they had some beef and he almost got fired, I think, at one
Yeah.
point or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah, it sounds like making this movie was just an absolute nightmare and was horrible. And at every single point, they thought it was going to be a flop and a disaster and going to bankrupt the studio and ruin all their careers. And then it ended up being like legit the first blockbuster movie where people were lined up, not just around the block, but around 2 blocks to get in
Mhm.
and see it. And it was just a phenomenon.
Yep.
Changed movies. And people have gone on to use that same, I mean, people have always kind of used it, but like an Alien, they do the same thing where you don't really see it. It kind of hides in the shadows, the original Alien. And then, you don't really get a good look at it until the ending when it's laying in that little cubby hole and it's
Yep.
like, ah, it's
Yeah.
so what would you rate Jaws?
I will rate it 10 out of 10 for sure.
I agree with you. I'm going to rate it. Do 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 do
Yeah.
do.
Woo!
For those of you just listening, I just raised up a Jaws picture, which I am going to start the gallery of 10 out of 10s. Watch it fall. It's going to be crooked for now. I'll straighten it later. But,
There. Oh, that's pretty good right there.
yep.
But yeah, it's Jaws 10, like an 8 by 10 looks like.
Yep. Little 8
Yep.
by 10 mini poster. And I do have one for Texas Chainsaw Massacre and Halloween, which are other ones I know I ranked 10 out of 10. So those
Yep.
will be joining Jaws. But yes, highly recommended. Jaws is good. It's popular. It's well known and iconic for a reason.
Yep. For sure.
All right. Any last words before you get
No.
shark attacked?
I don't want to be I don't want to have a shark fucking bite me in the ass or whatever.
Right.
No, make sure the family quest coming up, and also like October is coming up next week. Make sure you do a family quest
Hmm.
on your favorite horror movies that you go to every year right during that season. And
Hmm.
also make sure you wish happy birthday to Matt.
Aw. Thanks so much. Thanks for listening. Please
Thank
like,
you.
share, subscribe, follow.